Thank you. Yes, it's 8 minutes till lunch, so I promise I am not going to go past 8 minutes right now. If you're anything like me, you may hear my stomach growling up here because I am a 11:45 noon at the latest lunch person, so I'm with everybody. So what I'm going to do is my next presentation this afternoon was actually a little light. I was probably going to have about 10, 15 minutes left over after that. So this kind of works out, so I'll just get as far as I can get. Then for my afternoon session, I'll start with settlement, finish up, and then we can do the excise tax conversation. So to start today, the main thing I just want to talk about is kind of just a quick overview of the settlement review process. Most people here probably been through it a handful of times, so you know the process. But I just want to do a quick kind of just quick few points just to talk about to go into that. The first step when you do for your settlement forms and your review process is that we're going to upload the forms to the AOSFTP site. You'll be able to get your settlement forms by going to the To Settlements folder on the AOSFTP site. Once you complete your forms, you'll then put your forms to the From Settlement folder on the FTP site. Once you upload the forms, you should hear from someone from our office within 24 hours of uploading the forms. If you do not hear from anyone, please contact the local government email as after that 24 hours expires, and then someone will get in touch with you. We just want to make sure that we can start your review process as soon as possible. Once we review the forms, we'll follow up with you with any questions that we have. We'll go kind of the back and forth as we always do, and then once we get all of the questions answered, then you'll receive your pre-approval. As far as for the questions in the review process, it's going to be the same as it was in all the prior years. We're really just going to compare the current numbers versus the prior years and hold the thresholds, and if there's any things outside our thresholds, so if a number increased by 200%, that's when we'll come back and ask you, hey, this looks kind of odd, just a small explanation of what happened. One thing I do want to show, how much time do I got? 5 minutes. I want to go to the FTP site really quick just to show you guys where it's at. Oh, it looks like we're not connected to the internet. Never mind. We won't be doing that. But if you have any issues connecting to the AOSFTP site, feel free to give me a call or email anyone at the local government email, and we'll get right back with you. So then once you receive your approval, your pre-approval, then you just need to receive your final approval. This process is much quicker and easier than the pre-approval process. The one thing I just want to make sure that everyone we talk about is that there's the e-signature document. The e-signature document's just your signature document, just stating that you've gone through the process, everything, all the forms submitted to us are legal, there's nothing that's fraud or anything along those lines there. So you just need to make sure to fill that out and then upload that to the From Settlements folder, or the To Settlements folder. After the pre-approval goes out, I will upload that to your and put that in the From Settlements folder. So that's where you'll be able to get that. And then to receive your final approval, all funds just need to be remitted to the state. The funds that the state needs to receive are the fines and fees from the Section C of the Form 105, the welfare and school excise taxes, or the SWETA taxes, and the fine and forfeitures, which are due coming up next week. And then judge's supplemental if your county has any judge's supplemental. On form updates, there are no major changes to any of the settlement forms. There were two other forms that we did have some minor updates to, and that was the semi-annual remittance to the Common School Fund loan. That's also known as the fines and forfeitures form. It was just some cosmetic changes, no major changes to them. Same thing with the judge's supplemental. It was very cosmetic. We did update them so they're all PDF fillable forms. And they all contain e-signatures. So if you have the e-signature function in your PDF, you can now just kind of click that little red button and then send it to us without having to print it. We're finding out some people don't have the capabilities of doing that, so printing it, signing, scanning it to us is just fine as well. I was planning on going to the forums, but there's no internet.
Right at cookie time. So I'm sure cookies are more important than I am. One thing Tara pointed out to me was that I was speaking a little quickly right before lunch, which was partly planned because I was trying to get you guys out to lunch, and I'll be honest, I wanted lunch. But to help stop me from talking so fast, I brought Janie up here. Her job is, if I speak too quickly, to come up here and kick me. So, a kick to the shin should get me to speak a little bit slower, maybe a high-pitched yelp. But so we can get back to the fun stuff now, since we are a little constrained for time, so I want to try to get to everything. I was able to get the internet working between now and the time we started, so I just wanted to take a few seconds to talk about our AOS FTP site. I would assume between settlement and abstract season every time, everyone in this room, or majority of the people, have probably seen or used this site before. But I thought it could be worth just taking a few minutes to kind of just show everybody it, talk about it, and let you guys know if you have any questions, feel free to contact myself, Janie, or email the local government email. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Maybe I'm not going to log in. There we go. So one thing, my screen's a little bit different than everyone else's screens because I have every county. But I'm just going to click on a random county, so whoever gets made fun of is going to, that's not a county. We're going with Elkhart County. So when I was talking about settlement, when you click on your county, you're going to see that it's broken up into kind of the different project types that we use these for, or that we use this site for. And the whole purpose of this site is just for us uploading documents to you guys, to the different counties, and counties uploading documents to us. The reason we do this instead of email is that any of our documents are embedded with macros. A problem can arise where the spam filters can strip the macros or strip the document out, so then you cannot receive the document. So for settlement time coming up, if you want to pull your settlement files, you can easily just log in. You're going to click on your county, which your county will just show the one county. Click on the settlement file, and any file that's from AOS to the county, you're going to go to the From Settlement folder. That's where we upload all the different settlement files for you guys to use to fill out your settlement. Then once you fill out your settlement, you're done with your settlement, and you want to send it back to us for review, you can upload it back to the To Settlement file. Simple, straightforward, but goofy things happen, and sometimes problems happen. Sometimes you try to upload a file, it doesn't upload, or you try to download a file, the wrong file was there. So if any of those kind of problems ever arise, always feel free to, like I said, call me, call Janie. The one other thing to remember is when you're uploading files, I don't have anything to upload right now, but down in this kind of left-hand corner, there's always a little prompt that says upload. It's easy to miss it. I've missed it before once I thought I had everything uploaded for a handful of counties, and everyone came back and said, I never got that. Well, apparently I didn't hit the upload button, and the file never uploaded. So just remember that before you finish your submission of the files, you have to hit the upload button. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is on our website, we upload all of our forms to our website, and I just kind of wanted to show everybody where they're at. It's easy to get to, so if you go to in.gov/AOS, you can go to two places to get to forms. One, if you just scroll down a little bit, there's the whole form section. The other place you can go to is under menu, and if you go down to forms. So then once you're from the forms, you just go down to the local government section. Here's the two new forms I was talking about earlier. You have the semi-annual remittance to the Common School Fund. That's for your fines and forfeitures. And then you also have the judge's salary supplement and FICA tax remittance. And that's for reporting your judge's supplemental salaries. So if I open it, Here we go. So here's the new form for the semi-annual, for the fines and forfeitures. I'm going to take a shortcut. And you'll see it's very similar to the old form, but now it's a PDF fillable form. So on the document, you can enter all your information. And then down at the bottom here, it also now has a e-signature. So by clicking here, you can, if you have your PDF set, your Adobe set up, you can actually do a digital ID or signature, so you don't have to actually print it and send it back. If you want to print and send it back, PDF it back to us, we're fine with that, but we just wanted to put that option in there to give people something that can save a few seconds. And then the judge's supplemental is very similar. As you see here, it has the quarter you're submitting for right here, each judge. Down here is the subtotal, the total of the amounts that you're remitting, and then just the signature section. If you have any questions about these forms, feel free to contact either Janie or myself. We'll, as always, try to do our best to get right back to you. Now back to the slides. All right. Form updates. Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about is fines and forfeitures. So as a lot of you may have received, we sent out a memo about 1 month ago, and the memo was to talk about Senate Enrolled Act 99-2018, which established a new framework for handling proceeds from civil forfeitures under IC 3424-1. And the basic principle here was that it set up a framework to make sure that for the accounting of the funds, when it came from the different local courts to the county, is that so the funds would come from the city court, be remitted with the clerk of the circuit court, and then be remitted by the auditor. This is just to make sure that there's a clear, precise accounting for all the funds as it flows through to the state. One thing that has happened before, or does happen, is that some courts are incorrectly remitting funds directly to AOS. If this happens, what our policy and what we have been doing, we contact the county auditor and we ask the county auditor if they would like to either one, fill out and submit the semi-annual remittance to Common School Fund form for the amounts that we receive. So basically what you would do, the form that we were just looking at, you'd fill that form out for the amount that we received, send us the form, and then we'll accept the funds. The other option is we will actually send the funds back to the court that sent it to us, advising them or telling them that they would need to go to the county clerk, remit it to the county clerk so the county clerk can deposit, and then the county auditor can send the funds to us. In either situation, we will contact the court that we received the funds from so they know that going forward, the correct process for the funds. So going forward to the kind of a next section, at these conferences, one thing I would like to start doing is, especially next year as we have kind of the smaller rooms, is I'm going to start doing what's called settlement questions, where I'm going to maybe do a poll or send an email out to the different counties and trying to find out what are certain idea or issues that different counties are having when they're doing their settlement. So then I can kind of try to go through a real example of some of the problems that are being, or some of the questions or the more common problems that are being reported. So for today, what we want to talk about is what is a before apportionment adjustment. So a short definition that I came up with is a before apportionment adjustment is an adjustment that is made to settlement that will either increase or decrease the amount of settlement that is available for apportionment. So basically, it's funds that are taken off the top. So you have $100,000, you have to do a $10,000 before apportionment adjustment. There's only now $90,000 available for apportionment. It's usually a one-time adjustment, funds taken off the top. It decreases the amounts available to all units. Some examples of items that would create a before apportionment adjustment: NSF check deductions, invalid tax sale deductions, prior settlement corrections. some issue from last year that needs to be corrected, that this is how this would get corrected, or a TMA collections. The corrections usually go on the Form 102 with line 6 or line 41, followed by a Form 105, line 6 and line 41. Janie now is going to kind of walk you guys through an example because I couldn't let her sit here and not join the fun.
Isn't he special? Okay, let's see if I can do this. He took away some of what I was going to say. So while I'm messing around with this, I will warn all of the men that have a significant other in their life, I'll give you a little warning. If you ever decide to move and you tell your spouse, pack everything, and she does. She packs all of her clothes, all of her shoes, everything, and then you put off moving, and she has to go to a conference. You just gave her license to go shopping. Just want to tell you. Okay, I had a little fun with this. I know these forms are kind of hard to see, but most of you are familiar with the 102s and the 105s, and you know how they work. The 105 is the combination of all of the 102s. And one question that we've gotten since I came to the state, it's confusing. How do I handle line 41 adjustments? And like Bob said, what we've got down there, line 39, are for your refunds. Line 40, the late payment penalties on unpaid special assessments collected. And then you have line 41, which Bob kind of gave you a list of what all those could be. So what we wanted to do on this first page, this is for the Rogers City in Reynolds County. Wonder where I got those names. And I put in some fake numbers, and of course I made it easy. So let's just say, and you look over there and you see that line 45 and the net tax penalty and penalty column, $2 million, that's what they've got to apportion. Because they didn't have any unpaid taxes and all of this, because everybody in Rogers City pays their taxes. Yeah, because if they don't pay, Lori goes after them and gets it. So that being said, and if you look down in the bottom of section B, and obviously I couldn't put the whole sheet on the page, and you see the $2 million. And here's what happens when we put an amount in. Let's say that we want to adjust for NSF checks. So we want to reduce the amount to apportion. Well, if you can see the formula down there, the line, let me get down there, one more. The net total property tax for apportionment is adjusted by the total of all of those before apportionment adjustments. So it's going to reduce. So that tells us if we're going to subtract that total, and I'm doing this without notes, so in that case, we just added 100,000. That'd be if we wanted to increase. So I shouldn't have said NSFs. So if we were doing NSFs, we'd put that in there as 100,000, and then we reduce the amount, and then what do you do in your quietus worksheet? You quietus that $100,000 for NSFs to the county general fund to pay back your county general, and I'm seeing a lot of people shake their heads, so they know what I'm talking about. So I did kind of have a little bit of fun with it. Oh, and I wanted to show you too, if we switch over to the Form 105, you can see it's got the same adjustment. And one thing about getting older, you lose your technology skills. Okay. I also have another taxing district on here for Heath, and Heath is a township. Well, actually they did, but they don't have a lot of money. And so they had 60,000, and that's why we have a difference there. But I do have those all tied in together. So if we also, let's say that we had a situation, I don't know what would cause it, but for some reason, last year, money got distributed to Rogers City that should have gone to Heath Township because Rogers City has all the money. So then all you would have to do is you're going to make an adjustment, and we can do the same adjustment. And I messed up. Let me get rid of that, because I put that amount in on the wrong line. So on line 41, we're going to use our $100,000. We're going to take $100,000 away from, oops, or $1 million. There. We're going to take $100,000 away from Rogers. And we're going to go to, I should have just said Stephanie and Lori, it'd be easier. And we're going to give it to Heath, if I can remember how many zeros to put in. So now Heath is going to get $160,000. We got our formulas over here. Our section 5 should say $160,000, and we go to the form 105 and look on our line 41 on the 105, because those two were a wash, and I know this believe it or not can throw some people off. Why doesn't that show up there? Because 105's a combination of all of those, and those were a wash, right? One guy got it, one guy gave it up. In this case, one girl. And that's really all there is to it. So what I wanted to tell you, and let Bob get back to what he's doing. Oh, do you have any questions on that? It's really, if you look at the formulas on the sheets, I think it helps a lot. That's the nice thing about having this electronically. But since everybody gets to tell a little personal stuff, I was blessed this last year or so with my very first real niece, grandniece, and she's just a little cutie, but so I decided I needed to start being a good aunt, and I have a couple other nephews, a new one just born, and another one that's a year old, so I got him this great Halloween card, and I thought I'd share some of the jokes even though he's too young for them. So what do spiders eat with their burgers? No? French fries. You guys know I love puns. I like this one too. How does a witch keep her hair in place? Scare spray. Monster's favorite veggie is candy corn. And last but not least, what side of a werewolf has the most hair? Who said it? Outside. You got it. And that's it. No bad jokes, just bad puns.
Thank you, Janie.
You're welcome.
So that's just something to remember. We're going to start doing this every conference, especially next year when we have the more regional-based conferences. So as you're working on your settlement coming up here within the next about a month or so away, just write down any major issues that you have. And if it's something that we're seeing over and over, if a lot of counties are having the same issue, we'll kind of walk through everybody and kind of do something similar to this. So with that will conclude our settlement conversation. And now